Have you ever wondered how buildings are able to quiet down the dark side of the human mind? This is especially used in fields such as neural architecture, which I think you've probably never heard of. In this video, we're going to be going over how this process happens and how it's able to help. Okay? Alright, so let's get started. So when I say dark side, I don't mean anything specifically evil. We're talking about factors such as stress, aggression, impulsivity, and of course, anxiety. So when buildings make it worse, this can include factors such as overstimulation or even something that looks insanely dull, dry, and boring, which can lead to either bad situations, or two, just things that are not good for you. So when there's too much clutter, it creates stress, and I mean, you can have a little bit of stress, but stress in general, that is not good for you, especially if you go repeat it on a day-to-day basis. It's pretty toxicating. So especially imagine if you go to the same building and cross the same way every day. You see that ugly thing? That thing is damaging it's taking away your lifespan. So just keep that in mind, my friend. Or there can be another situation where you get lost in a building that just confuses the heck out of you because everything looks the same. I remember when I was in Dallas and I was walking to places, almost every place looked the exact same. And oh boy, was it quite the experience. So the first step to solving such a problem would be 1, reducing the cognitive load. Because in a clean and safe environment, basically I wouldn't say clean, but I mean safe is also hypothetical. I would say an environment that has clear pathways and it's easy for other people to follow is basically going to do a lot of good for people. Because think about it. People want experiences, and good experiences help longevity. Another thing you would want to do is probably bring in nature. Elon Musk's brother, I think his name is Errol Musk. I think his brother, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Or Kimball, who also co-founded
a California company that provides online access to information about cities around the country.
Helping with environments with plants and putting them in spaces, because this just helps stress and calm the nervous system. He actually currently does that, or used to do that for a living. And putting plants, and he's big with plants and spaces and helping people feel better. That's a skill, and it's pretty interesting. That's also one of the options. Another thing you would want to do is control sensory input. Now this one's quite difficult because if you're in a crowded space, you know, even if you go to China, the biggest building in China, right, and you go to this one particular part of the building where there's a water park, it's almost always so crowded, and that's basically just too much stimulation, right? Because if a place is really good and everybody wants to go to it, how are you going to control the sensory input is the question, right? So you have to at least try to create a system that's able to do that. But if everyone wants something, it's always going to be a problem, man. I'm sorry. So one would be able to have open layouts and clear corners. I mean, of course, these places always get the best benefits. Versus if you see dark places that have dark corners, you're basically looking at homeless places where people are homeless, and a lot of the losers are there. So, just in general, you want to keep that under consideration when making something, or else people are just not gonna go. So, if I made one change to the water park in the biggest building in the world, which is in China, it would be that I can just take away the sunlight, my friend. I'm pretty sure it ain't gonna look that great anymore. I'm just gonna imagine if there was no sunlight and there was only flashlights there. Nobody wants to go, bro. It's just gonna be creepy. It's gonna look completely different. So think about it. When you're in that huge water park and you're trying to get from point A to point B, to go to a certain place or visit or perhaps even do certain things, right? You're gonna need some help. So if you visit a place that have an agenda or a map, how are you gonna get here, right? And how are you gonna help them, especially if the place is super big? You're gonna have to use some signals or some architectural patterns to help it, like flow lines and design that's able to guide you, right? And that's very important. And in fact, it's being used all the time, okay? It's not just looking at a map. It also depends on whether the people are able to understand it or not. Because if it's properly designed good enough and people are able to understand, then that's basically what matters. This can also apply to human factors and cognitive sciences as well. So if you're good at places where, especially if they're trying to do marketing or they're trying to get a lot of people to come to a certain area, let's say like food stands or casinos or even arcades, which I don't even think anyone goes to anymore, or actually they still do, maybe, I don't. Honestly, I just see it as a huge waste of time, but you could say that bad design it's just there to manipulate you, while like you look at places like libraries or cafes, they just help you like work and get focused. And this probably has a clashing dynamics between introversion and extroversion, but I honestly think that anyone would be able to concentrate better if they were in the library or in a cafe, regardless of introversion or extroversion or not. But I can tell you that this is basically how they clash.